I want to see like trans stories told well in the cinema.
Yeah.
Like that's something I really want and support and look forward to and celebrate when it happens.
Yeah.
This was not that. Hello and welcome to the Talkies, where three filmmakers are talking about movies. I'm Kenny.
I am D.
I'm Taylor.
That's right. And today, coming at you with a Talkies mini-sode about...
Don't call it that.
Why not?
Don't call it that.
It's a Talkies light.
Call it that.
Exactly.
Personal size.
The fun size.
Fun size Talkies.
It's here today with a Talkies fun size edition.
I like fun size.
Yeah, we're talking about...
it's a personal pan pizza.
Exactly. It's a personal pan, right?
Personal pan.
Pizza.
Personal pan
Pizza
Talkies.
theme. Got it. Okay. Hey, welcome to the talk. This is our personal pan episode. God, it's a shorter episode.
Just call it a mini-sode.
Emilia Perez is what we were talking about today. But before we get into that, please like and subscribe. And
No, don't do that. I don't want people to like and subscribe.
D, I'm trying to help us here.
No.
They doubled our size of our Discord membership just in the previous week.
Yeah,
We did.
100% up.
100%
gain.
Yeah,
That's pretty
100%
awesome.
gain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So feel like I want you to feel like you're missing out.
Yes.
FOMO. Yeah, join us at Discord.
Better
where
hurry.
We'll talk more about movies, especially if you disagree with us about
Actually, only if you disagree.
Emilia Perez.
Don't go in there if you agree with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't want that.
All right. Let's
So
get
don't
this.
go in there if you want to agree.
Can
Got
we
it.
Please
Got it.
get started.
I suppose.
I want to get this over with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, we're
just-
stalling. Let's be
yeah.
honest, we're stalling,
Yeah,
guys.
just rip the wax off of your chest hair
Oh, yeah.
and bikini line.
I've never done that.
Yeah, I haven't even done that.
You're missing out.
I don't think this movie was good.
Wow.
Okay.
Holy
Thank
fuck.
you. Thank you for sharing that.
Can it get hotter? Can it get hotter?
I respect your vulnerability.
I don't think this movie was as PC as people think it is.
Oh.
Oh, that's good. No, that's
wanna get
good.
Okay, well,
I think you're right.
Too hot.
Your turn.
Okay.
That was way too long.
Yeah, very hot.
I got a hot one. This one's hot.
Go.
Wait till you hear this. This movie, Emilia Perez, is very reminiscent of Tommy Wiseau's The Room, but far less coherent.
Yeah, wow. That's a hot take.
Yeah.
I think The Room is a very good comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is not so good. It's
No.
not so bad. It's good.
So bad
this
it's
is
bad?
so bad. It's bad.
Yeah, it's just terrible. Your turn.
I knew someone from So Bad Is Bad.
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh, they're dead now.
Not with us anymore.
Dead. Yeah.
I
Rip.
prefer if you said not with us.
Sorry. Is it time for my hot take? I think it is.
Yeah, give a hot take.
All right. I wish my hot take was about the filmmaking, but it's not.
Wait, what?
My hot take is actually how like utterly confused I am that there are enough people in this world to vote for this movie to have the most Oscar nominations this year.
Yeah.
That seems like I feel like I took crazy pills, so
Yeah.
we'll have to get into that.
I 100% agree. My real hot take being that of yours.
Yeah.
I just couldn't phrase it that way. So, yeah.
Right.
welcome.
Right.
I'm keeping my hot take.
Okay. I disregard mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this okay, man, it's hard to even know where to begin. So I'll start with this. Speaking as a gender binary non-conforming person, I want to see like trans stories told well in the cinema.
Yeah.
Like that's something I really want and support and look forward to and celebrate when it happens.
Yeah.
This was not that.
Yeah.
It was not at all.
No.
It is actually really hard for me to even pin down what this movie is, what it was trying to say, why it exists.
So I don't know who like produced the movie because it looked like there was a bunch of production cards that were places I'd never heard of. But I imagine that this is one of those made for Netflix, made for streaming movies that for some reason got picked up for like an Oscar and then got a lot of attention. I think it's one of those movies because a ton of these movies are out there.
Yeah, but at
Sure.
the same time, like Zoe Saldana,
Yeah, right.
But Zoe Saldana was the
she's
only.
one of the biggest stars in
She was the only.
world.
Yeah, but she was the only name in here,
That's true.
and
but
the only
still-
thing that she's in right
Selena
now.
Gomez.
Oh,
Selena Gomez in it
I
too.
wouldn't-
Yeah,
but I wouldn't call her like.
no, not as much as
Yeah.
Zoe.
Yeah.
But still, so biggest star in the world, one of them,
Yeah.
in terms of like just box office power connected to her name.
Yeah.
And the movie starts off with like very much telling us this movie is about her point of view. Like this is her story.
It is couched in her point of view.
That's how it starts. It starts with her musical number.
Yeah.
Is the beginning of the movie where she says, "I have problems and I need my life to be better."
Right.
That's how you classically start the arc of a main character.
Yeah.
They show up and they either speak or sing a song about their problems that they want to improve.
Yeah.
And they go on a journey to fix those problems. Before very long at all, her character is proved utterly meaningless.
No.
And by the end of the movie, she could have been completely deleted and had no impact on the story whatsoever.
Totally. Absolutely. She was basically, I felt like she was only in half of the movie.
Right.
Felt like she almost disappeared in the second half.
And
Yeah.
like, I couldn't tell if they were telling us if the character of Emilia was a protagonist or an antagonist or an anti-hero. Like, it wasn't that it was nuanced. It was that it was like befuddled.
Confused.
Yeah.
Confused. Yeah.
I think one of my big takeaways after having watched the movie and kind of thinking about it for a few days, because we did not watch it today. This is recorded a week afterwards.
Right.
I've been thinking about it. My takeaway is this, that this movie is not about being trans. And this movie,
sure hope it's
no, and this movie is also not about Mexican culture, but
Yeah.
it uses both of those
It's a
things.
French movie.
Yeah.
It uses both of those things as plot devices.
Yeah.
Purely a plot, like utterly shallow plot devices to just tell
Yeah.
some weird, like it's not even a story. It's like it's just a plot.
And that's where the freaking Oscar thing gets so weird.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because it's not unheard of for the Academy to get behind some kind of cause movie because of the image, right?
Sure.
Like we've seen that happen.
Yeah,
many
they're very
times
shallow.
in the past. They will do that.
Yeah, sure.
If it's like, oh yeah, we want to support this movie because it's a climate change documentary by the Vice President of the United States, right, or something like that. But the movie doesn't even. I mean, is the trans character a good person?
Right. So, yeah.
No.
That's. I mean, no. I
No,
don't-
absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. They're not.
Like,
I wanted. I think that's a good thing, though, and I think that's a very progressive thing. But I don't think that's what they were going for. I think one of the reasons why everyone wanted this movie up the way it was, and probably the filmmaker, what they were trying to go for, was making this a very important story about a trans person. But it ends up not being one about anyone because it's not couched in any
yeah,
perspective
yeah,
as much. If anything, it's about Rita. But like you said, yeah, Emilia is not a good person. But I like that because I want to say that that's kind of like an acceptance thing, right? It's one of those things where you have trans people in the world, so we're going to go ahead
Yes.
and recognize it,
right.
and say it's fine to
And
be a bad person
Yes.
also.
And then that's ultimately that's how we want all representation to happen in movies.
Right.
Is the movie isn't about a gay person. It's about a love story.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And the fact that a protagonist or antagonist is queer or trans or black or white or anything
Yeah.
shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't, right?
Right.
Right.
What should matter is what the story is, and that's cool. But it also didn't feel like they had crossed into that territory with this film,
Right.
Either.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
I think the whole movie breaks down when you just try to recite the overall plot
What the plot
Yeah.
of
is.
this
Yeah.
movie. You know, it's a giant cartel boss is tired of that life and wants and is trans and wants to embrace being a woman fully and sever themselves from this the cartel, right?
Yeah.
And they do that at the expense of abandoning their children and wife, and they fake their death to start a new life and be trans, and they blackmail a lawyer for some reason, to facilitate the operations and all the medical needs that come with transitioning. And then she has her new life and feels bad that she abandoned her
She wants
family
her kids back.
and decides to go back to Mexico under the pretense that she is their father's cousin and still take care of the kids and be a part of her old life. And that leads to then she gets into a cause when her old crimes from when she was a cartel boss get discovered, when they discover the mass grave that she's responsible for.
Right.
She leads the cause for bringing justice and closure to her victims. And then she meets one of her victims' ex-wife,
Wife of the
victim. Deceased, who the wife is like, thank God that person killed my husband.
I forgot about
because my husband was so bad.
Right.
And then she feels good about what she did, the mass grave
Right.
that she did, and then she fucks her. And then she gets
Sounds
mad.
like you're making up a story.
I know, yeah, you're just making this up.
Then she gets mad at her ex-wife for remarrying, and then some violence happens, and then it's over.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
But what you're describing could be a good movie if the movie you were making was the portrait of a deeply morally compromised person.
Right. And that's the thing that I wanted to bring up before, was that, like Breaking Bad, right? I like the idea that we have a morally gray hero in Emilia Perez. It's cool that we have that, but it's not about anything when it comes to it.
The
Not
missing
at all,
thing was a
yeah.
statement,
Yeah.
right? Like
Totally.
which I guess is theme,
Right.
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because so like at the end, the final scene of the movie is there's a memorial parade happening in the city celebrating the memory of Emilia Perez.
Right. And all of us were like, why?
Right.
Isn't she the bad guy?
Now, if the, portrait of a morally compromised, soul
Yeah.
movie was made correctly, then that scene would resonate as like, oh my God, everyone still sees this person like a saint, and we know they were horrible,
Right.
and the dissonance is heavy, and like, oh my God, the world is kind of fucked up,
Right.
right? Like that's cool if you
Well,
could pull that off.
says something.
Except when that moment come, I couldn't tell if the film was expecting me to feel that way or actually feel the way the people in the parade feel.
Right.
Right? Like I almost feel like the movie is saying, no, she is this great person.
That's what it felt like.
right? Yeah, it really did.
Yeah. No, there was a few times in here where I was like utterly confused by what it seemed like was the film's perspective versus what we were seeing. There was that part that we were all like laughing at, which is many parts in the movie, but one of them was when she shows her gun,
Across the room.
right.
the room.
Yeah,
Right,
there was
right.
some uncanny
What?
stuff.
Yeah.
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 So it was like at that part, it was clearly a sympathetic moment, supposed to be anyway, where the girl, like you said, the
The new love interest.
Yeah.
the estranged,
Yeah.
whatever.
She was coming to make sure her husband was killed in the mass grave.
Right.
Because and if she came with a knife, because if she found her husband alive, she intended to kill him on the spot.
Supposedly, right?
Yeah.
And right, and it was supposed to be a red herring thing for the audience for us to go, oh, she's actually going to kill.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So it was that kind of thing happening. But then later on, she exits, and shows her knife, and then the other girl goes, oh, Amelia goes, oh, I have my gun, right? Like it's a funny moment, and
Yeah,
it's,
they connect over it.
yeah, and it's confusing. Like it's just literally like I feel nothing for each of these characters.
Absolutely.
At this moment,
Well, it went and like literally, it's logistically confusing because they're having an aside.
Right?
They're having an aside across a warehouse.
Big room with 100 people in between
100
them.
people in between them.
Yeah.
Open window.
And they literally whisper
They're
at each
literally
other.
whispering at each other.
Yeah, it's funny because later on they use that same perspective as when the cops come in. They use I think it's the same exact shot when the cops come in. Or it's not the cops. It's the someone with a bomb that we thought was a bomb. No, it was the fingers. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Someone comes in with the fingers, and they use the same shot to evoke a sense of voyeurism. Like there is a long distance here, and we're not meant to be where they are. We're meant to be way out here. So it's just weird that you're using the same shot to evoke a long shot versus a side, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
So I believe this was a very creative filmmaker.
Oh yeah.
That has probably lots of very cool ideas. Definitely experimenting with the definition of a musical, and doing
Very generous.
and doing some but they
is very
they
generous.
did some wild things with the idea of musical. And if that was part of a good storytelling experience, I think we would be talking about that as like that was wild.
I think an example of what you're talking about is the movie La La Land.
I was gonna say
Sure.
La La Land does all this stuff really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, even surreal sequences like the parts with Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Or
Although La La Land still feels way more traditional musical than what we saw. in
true.
Emilia
Yeah.
Perez.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue that
I
Amelia.
mean, they were singing songs.
Well, exactly. Well, that's my point. I would argue that Emilia Perez is barely a musical.
Yeah.
It is barely, yeah.
It almost exists purely for gimmick.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And also, I don't think it even works as a musical because not just because their songs were bad, too.
Unmemorable.
Yeah,
Horrible.
really bad. But the moments in music in any kind of a music-oriented film is that the huge plot is supposed to be very simple to follow. That way, you can sing about the big plot points that are happening, and people just understand what's happening. Like it's like you think about Frozen or think about La La Land. These are just,
Wicked.
yeah, just really easy to follow points. So like, okay, they're going to Oz now. Okay,
Right.
Elsa's having a castle now. She's having a moment. Like it's just one of those things. Whereas we have this, and we have like, what was the first song was about Rita and coming to terms with the all the problems that she's had in her life.
Yeah.
and she needs some sort of
Didn't like
release.
her life as a lawyer.
Yeah,
And, you know.
and then she goes into this. She gets kidnapped
Yeah.
by who eventually becomes Emilia. Is that what's his name?
I don't remember
Manitas
his name.
or whatever. Anyway, but then he does this whisper song to her about how
that was wild.
yeah,
I felt like I was having a fever.
dude. And then Selena Gomez's her character had so many surreal moments.
Yeah.
which I think
It
again
almost made me. I'm like, is she here?
right.
Is she actually? Is she like a dream?
There's a part where
character? Yeah.
she like literally goes into her closet and dances with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And it's like these things that they're very complex psychologically about what's happening. There's so many different things happening.
That's right. I think there were so many ideas here, and the filmmaker needed to lean into one.
Right.
As like, this is my story, and this is how I want to tell it.
Yeah.
Instead, we have a bunch of fibers of a story that are not woven together coherently, and many different modalities in trying to tell those story fragments.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Pretentious.
It's not a. It's. I mean, the word gets overused, but I don't think you're wrong.
What was the that last scene was really strange. The and I know it was supposed to be surreal.
The parade?
No, where Emilia was shot.
Oh, yeah.
But then also not shot. There was like that the reverse dust coming into the house.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
That
yeah.
was a surreal moment.
Yeah.
Turned
Yeah,
into
damn, fuck,
not
they were-
surreal.
Yeah.
Ripping off David Lynch.
Is it David Lynch?
They ripped off that. There's a shot in Lost Highway like that.
Oh wow. Interesting.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. This movie was very David Lynch.
Kill me now! Kill me!
I wish it was more David Lynch. That's what I mean. Like, choose a lane.
Yeah.
Right. There were moments that felt like we were going into a David Lynch like experience.
Yeah.
You know, if the whole movie was that way, it would have been really. I mean, it could have been cool.
Yeah.
But I think the ultimate failure of this film is just never giving the audience that one thread or person to hang on to through the whole narrative.
Yeah, there's no perspective here.
Yeah, you don't connect to anyone. And so because of that, these moments drop that you can tell the filmmaker is expecting an emotional resonance, and none comes.
Right.
A great example of that is at the end when Emilia gets kidnapped and what's her name finds the fingers, and then they do a squad up gun dance segment where they're getting ready to go and do a rescue mission.
Yeah.
And like you can tell by the pacing of the cuts and the music that the anxiety and the intensity is supposed to be going up.
Yeah.
And you don't feel any intensity.
Yeah.
Because at this moment, if lawyer character, forget her name.
Rita.
If Rita dies in the rescue, or
nothing happens.
Selena Gomez character dies,
nothing
or
happens.
if Emilia dies, it doesn't change my movie at all at this point. I'm not. Who am I rooting for here?
Right.
Like, what is the story you're telling me?
I think if you were to completely relate with Emilia being trans and feeling that pressure, perhaps you would be better connected to her in the story. I feel like that's probably what would happen.
Yeah, well, maybe the filmmaker thought that.
Yeah.
I doubt any trans person connected to Emilia beyond like a very superficial level of being like, oh yeah, I remember when I wanted to transition and I was willing to do anything to get it.
Right.
But that part's over in the first act of the movie.
Yeah.
Right? Everything after that is a human being doing despicable things mostly.
Right.
And her transgender status, the only role it plays is hiding her identity from her ex-wife.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pure plot
That's
device.
all it is.
Yeah.
Purely a plot device.
Right. Yeah. And it's not, like you said, she's not a good person after that.
Yeah. She does really terrible things.
Yeah.
Again, mass grave.
Right. No, cartel boss.
Mass
Yeah.
grave.
And using it now to gain favor, fame, love,
Right.
romance.
As if it's a tragedy.
Right.
As if it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Abandoned family.
and the way she
Traumatized
treats the
family.
ex-wife,
Yeah.
that the Selena Gomez character, that is really twisted.
Yeah. And it could make for a really interesting story.
That's what I mean. Dive into this super twisted person
Yeah.
and make it about that.
Yeah, maybe
you know?
Vince Gilligan should have wrote
should.
this.
Yeah. I was going to say, it feels so Breaking Bad, not just because of cartel or Mexico, but like even.
It's like if Breaking Bad was a giant piece of shit.
Not even that. Not even that.
So the transness of this movie being what it is.
Yeah.
Does that mean that like the voting academy like literally piled votes on this movie because they saw the word trans in the synopsis?
I really have no idea.
Because the
if
trans
you watch the
person
movie,
is
you're
actually
like-
trans.
Oh, I think that's the reason.
Well, at least for her nomination as because she has a Best Actress
I
nomination.
believe so, yeah.
Which good for her. It's not a good performance though.
No,
It's not. It's not at all.
No. Are there? I'm trying to think of other trans people that have been in movies that we really like.
Well, it's
It's about to come out. It's called The Odyssey.
No. There's one that's out that I know has a trans person in it. Oh, Barbie.
Oh, I was also going to say I like Hunter Schafer a lot.
I don't know who that is.
Euphoria.
Oh yeah, shit. That's the other one I was thinking about. Yeah. Fucking Euphoria. Jesus, Euphoria is way better than this
Emilia
ever could
Perez.
be. And Barbie has a I forgot her name person in it. Anyway, but yeah, two much better IPs than this. So like, why aren't those getting the same recognition? I guess they are.
Barbie got Oscars.
For being
No.
trans.
And
Sorry.
Darcy's non-binary and is in House of the Dragon, and their praise has nothing to do with the fact that they're non-binary.
Well, so here's another
Right?
thing.
It has to do with the fact that it's a great role and a great performance and a great piece of television.
Something I want to bring up about that is, I asked this while we were watching the movie, and it was, can any movie be made of a progressive element in society? At the moment, it's trans, but like, can a movie be made of something progressive and be a bad movie and not win any Oscars? Is that possible?
Sure.
Well, yeah, I think I
Sure.
I want to say yes.
Yeah,
but so far nothing.
no.
that I know.
Well, it's an unfair question because
Tangerine. But that was actually a good movie, though.
I was going to say the category that you just described is way bigger than you think.
Yeah.
We don't hear about most of the movies made
It's true.
that are progressive,
Well, that are to this level.
that's what I mean. Like, yeah, if they have major studio funding and are pushed into the spotlight by Netflix and Sony and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, it's like, okay, so like Madam Web, right, is a movie that is as bad, if not the same, I don't know, a little bit worse. I've never seen it. But like Madam Web got a ton of hatred for what it was and no awards. So why do we need awards associated is what I mean.
I would say that Madam Web doesn't have an auteur behind it.
Yeah.
Regardless of trans or progressive or whatever, Emilia Perez does have an auteur behind it, and the Oscars will go for that over a superhero movie.
So the auteur direction?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know anything about Madam Web.
I watched the first 15 minutes of Madam Web on an airplane, and it was hilarious. And then I got bored. On an airplane, I got bored and stopped watching it.
Real quick aside, a movie that this reminded me of, not because of what it is, but because of trans, was I saw the TV Glow. And it was interesting because I remember watching that with you and
Maddie.
Both of you guys are part of the LGBTQ
Jesus
community.
Christ.
There we go.
Thank you.
And I didn't see any kind of metaphor for a trans
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
And yet, I guess
A
everyone
lot
else
of other
did.
people did.
Yeah, I thought that was really
And that
interesting.
movie didn't get anything
That movie is way better
than Emilia
than
Perez.
Emilia Perez.
Yes, that's true.
But I wouldn't say it's about trans. But what do I know? Because I'm not trans. So
And I also don't think that movie's deserving of Oscars. But compared to Emilia Perez, it is absolutely deserving of Oscars.
yeah, I would absolutely agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, except what I saw the TV Glow was doing was with something kind of like allegory, you
Right,
know?
right.
And the allegory happened to fit the experience of trans people really well.
Yeah.
But it also fit any experience of when you feel like what you're experiencing, it does not match the world around you.
Right.
Right. And that can be many,
That could
many
be
different
anything.
things.
Yeah.
Which I think is a way better way to tell stories.
Sure.
Because ultimately, if you want someone to empathize and identify with the trans experience, the best thing you can do is point out all the many different everyday experiences that you have
Right.
that are very similar.
Right.
You know, it's not that crazy of a thing.
If Emilia Perez was a pizza, what kind of pizza would it be?
I have a pizza.
You have a pizza? Do it.
Go for it.
Okay.
All right.
You get on your phone and you're hungry. So you get on your phone, you order Domino's.
Domino's.
Yeah, you order Domino's. You get a pepperoni pizza from Domino's. You order it, place the order. Transaction goes through. You see the charge on your card go through, and it says on the way. And then it says it's being prepared by Jeff. Jeff, put your pizza in the oven.
Okay.
Do they do this?
Yeah,
They
they
do
have
do
a
this,
tracker. Yeah.
My God.
And then like the finishing toppings on the way, and then it never shows up.
This
And
is
then
a pizza
and
that
then
was
it
never
says
there.
it says delivered.
Oh my God.
You never got a pizza.
A gaslighting pizza.
Yeah, doesn't
they
exist.
even text you a receipt.
Yep, receipt.
They're like,
You paid for
Yeah,
it.
they're like, yeah, here's your receipt.
you have
Yeah.
a receipt and everything.
Yep,
You
do
had
not-
your pizza.
You don't get your money back.
Wow. That's a bad experience.
Yeah.
That's a bad pizza.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. It's a to me it's a gaslight pizza. That's what it is.
He just said that.
No. You were told you were getting a pizza and didn't get it, or that you got it but you didn't get it. What I'm telling you is that I got a pizza, right?
Yeah.
But I had hundreds of people call me on the phone and tell me that this is worthy of the highest praise of any pizza you will have this year.
Oh my God.
It is one of the best pizzas of the year. No question. You need to order it. And then it comes and it's literally just Domino's.
I've made that pizza before.
Sure.
That pizza rating.
Oh yeah. Well,
It's okay to reuse them.
Eventually, we're bound to repeat some.
That doesn't make any sense.
Because of
this is supposed to be nuanced.
because of something about chimps and typewriters, I think.
Yeah,
Right. Chimps and turtles.
Shakespeare.
Yeah,
If
Shakespeare.
you shake a bag of watch parts long enough, you'll have a watch.
I actually heard.
They're fucking crazy.
I actually heard that that's not true. The Shakespeare thing. Yeah. I know. We're talking about infinite amount of time. I know, right? I think that it's a certain type of infinity. Anyway, talking about infinity.
No, go on. I want more about this.
It's more interesting.
It is more interesting. Yeah. This pizza is kind of similar to Kenny's pizza. It is a pizza.
Which mine was kind of similar to Taylor's.
Right.
pizza.
Okay. Yeah. So they're all kind of
It's an
similar.
evolution.
This is not worthy of too much
Hey, look,
thought.
we're all unified on
I
this.
guess so.
right?
I guess so.
This
This movie brought us together.
this movie is a pizza that not everyone's been talking about, but it's been a lot of awards, a lot of really, really big awards for a really good pizza. And so you see it on maybe it's Google, right? You Google search for a pizza place and this comes up and it has just really good ratings. They're not from people, they're bots, but they're ratings, they're really good ratings. And then when you order it, this little girl comes over and she's like a neighbor, like someone you've seen before. And I'm just like, hey, what are you doing here? And she's like, I'm here for your pizza. And I'm like, I ordered a pizza from this pizza place. And she's like, yeah, that's me. And she gives you her pizza and then leaves. And, you're like, oh, okay. And so you take it in and you open the box and it's just dough with tomato paste on it. Paste, not sauce.
It's like an easy bake oven pizza.
No. It has it's real dough, real pizza dough. It's not baked. And it has tomato paste.
Not baked.
It's tomato paste on
Stretches.
Yeah. Like it was a little girl who went to get her own pizza toppings and made a pizza, but she didn't have any.
She didn't cook it.
She didn't cook it or anything. She doesn't know how to make pizza.
Raw.
Yeah. She just gave it to you. And you don't eat it.
Mm.
You don't eat it. No.
But you're like,
That's
oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Then you send her on her way.
And she's French.
She's French.
And she's French.
And trans.
And she's trans. Yeah. She's a French trans person. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That was some terrible pizza.
Yeah, that was bad pizza.
Terrible movie.
Please end me.
Yeah, indeed. You've been watching The Talkies from Karman Line Studios. Join us over at Discord, and we will see you next time. Fade to Black.